Angkor is one of the most important archaeological sites in Southeast Asia, stretching over some 400 square kilometers, including forested area. Angkor Archaeological Park contains the magnificent remains of the different capitals of the Khmer Empire. From the 9th to the 15th centuries, they include the famous temple of Angkor Wat and at Angkor Thom, the Bayon Temple with its countless sculptural decorations. UNESCO has set up a wide-ranging program to safeguard this symbolic site and its surroundings. Angkor, in Cambodia's northern province of Siem, is one of the most important archaeological sites of Southeast Asia. It extends over approximately 400 square kilometers and consists of scores of temples, hydraulic structures, basins, dikes, reservoirs, canals, as well as communication routes. For several centuries, Angkor was the center of the Khmer kingdom, with impressive monuments, several different ancient urban planks, and large water reservoirs. The site is a unique concentration of features testifying to an exceptional civilization. Temples such as Angkor Wat, the Bayon, Preah Khan, and the Prum, exemplars of Khmer architectures, are closely linked to their geographical context as well as being imbued with symbolic significance. The architectures and layout of the successive capitals bear witness to a high level of social order and ranking within the Khmer Empire. Angkor is therefore a major site, exemplified cultural, religious, and symbolic values, as well as containing high architectural, archaeological, and artistic significance. The park is inhabited, and many villages, some of whom the ancestors are dating back to the Angkor period, were scattered throughout the park. The population practices agriculture and more specifically rice cultivation. The Angkor complex represents the entire range of Khmer art from the 9th to the 14th centuries and includes a number of indisputable artistic masterpieces. Angkor Wat, the Bayon, the Bantesrai. The influence of Khmer art as developed at Angkor was a profound one over much of Southeast Asia and played a fundamental role in its distinctive evolution. The Khmer Empire of the 9th to the 14th century encompassed much of Southeast Asia and played a formative role in the political and cultural development of the region. All that remains of that civilization is its rich heritage of color structures in brick and stone. Khmer architecture evolved largely from that of the Indian subcontinent, from which it soon became clearly distinct as it developed its own spatial characteristics. Some independently evolved and others acquired from neighboring cultural traditions. The result was a new artistic horizon in Oriental art and architecture. The Angkor complex encompasses all major architectural buildings and hydrological engineering systems from the Khmer period, and most of these barrages and canals still exist today. All individual aspects illustrate the antagonist of the sites very much, reflecting the splendor of the cities that once were. The site integrity, however, is put under dual pressures. 1. Indigenous, exerted by more than 100,000 inhabitants, distributed over 112 historic settlements scattered over the site, who constantly try to expand their dwellings area. 2. Exogenous, related to the proximity of the town of Siem and the seat of the province and the tourism hub. Previous conservation and restoration works at Angkor between 1907 and 1992, especially by the École Française de l'Extrême Orient (EFEO), the Architectural Survey of India, the Paris Conservation Body (PKZ), and the World Monuments Fund have had no significant impact on the overall authenticity of the monuments that make up the Angkor complex and do not obtrude upon the overall impression gained from individual monuments. The property is legally protected by the Royal Decree on the Zoning of the Region of Siem Reap, Angkor, adopted on 28 May 1994, and the Law on the Protection of the Natural and Cultural Heritage promulgated on 25 January 1996, and the Royal Decree on the creation of the Apsara National Authority, Authority for the Protection of the Site and the Management of the Angkor region, adopted on 19 February 1995, and the number 70 SR, government decision dated 16 September 2004, providing for land use in the Angkor Park, or lands located in Zone 1 and 2 of the Angkor site as state properties, and the sub-decree number 50 ANKBK on the organization and functioning of the Apsara National Authority, adopted on 9 May 2008, specifically provided for the establishment of a Department of Land Use and Habitat Management in the Angkor Park. In order to strengthen and to clarify the ownership and building codes in the protected zones 1 and 2, boundary posts had been put in 2004 and 2009, and the action was completed in 2012. As of 1993, the ICC Angkor International Coordinating Committee for the Safeguarding and Development of the Historic Sites of Angkor, created on 13 October 1993, ensures the coordination of the successive scientific, restoration, and conservation-related projects, executed by the Royal Cambodian Government and its international partners. It ensures the consistency of the various projects and defines, when necessary, technical and financial standards and calls the attention of all the concerned parties when required. It also contributes to the overall management of the property and its sustainable development. The successful conservation of the property by the Apsara National Authority, monitored by the ICC Angkor, was crowned by the removal of the property from the World Heritage List endangered in 2004. Angkor is one of the largest archaeological sites in operation in the world. Tourism represents an enormous economic potential, but it can also generate irreparable destruction of the tangible as well as intangible cultural heritage. Many research projects have been undertaken since the International Safeguarding Program was first launched in 1993. The scientific objectives of the research, example, anthropological studies on socio-economic conditions, result in a better knowledge and understanding of the history of the site and its inhabitants that constitute a rich, exceptional legacy of the intangible heritage. The purpose is to associate the intangible culture to the enhancement of the monuments in order to sensitize the local population to the importance and necessity of its protection and preservation and assist in the development of the site as Angkor is a living heritage site where Khmer people in general, but especially the local population, are known to be particularly conservative with respect to ancestral traditions, and where they adhere to a great number of archaic cultural practices that have disappeared elsewhere. The inhabitants venerate the temple deities and organize ceremonies and rituals in their honor, involving prayers, traditional music, and dance. Moreover, the Angkor Archaeological Park is very rich in medicinal plants used by the local population for treatment of diseases. The plants are prepared and then brought to different temple sites for blessing by the gods. The Preah Khan temple is considered to have been a university of medicine and the NeakPoan and Sun hospital. These aspects of intangible heritage are further enriched by the traditional textile and basket weaving practices and palm sugar production, which all result in products that are being sold on local markets and to the tourists, thus contributing to the sustainable development and livelihood of the population living in and around the World Heritage Site. A public investigation unit was created as major instrument for identifying the needs, expectations, and behaviors of visitors in order to set policy, monitor its evolution, prepare a flood management policy, and promote the unknown sites. The management of the Angkor site, which is inhabited, also take into consideration the population living in the property by associating them to the tourist economic growth in order to strive for sustainable development and poverty reduction. Two major contributions supporting the Apsara National Authority in this matter are 1. The Angkor Management Plan (AMP) and Community Development Participation Project (CDPP), a bilateral cooperation with the Government of New Zealand, and the AMP helps the Apsara National Authority to reorganize and strengthen the institutional aspects, and the CDPP prepare the land use map with earn experimental participation of the communities and support small projects related to tourist development in order to improve the income of villagers living in the protected zones. 2. The Heritage Management Framework, composed of a tourism management plan and a risk map on monuments and natural resources. A multilateral cooperation with the Government of Australia and UNESCO. Preliminary analytical and planning work for the management strategies will take into account the necessary to preserve the spectral atmosphere of Angkor. All decisions must guarantee physical, spiritual, and emotional accessibility to the sites for the visitors.